Hey everyone, I'm your host Brittany Jones Cooper, and welcome back to Build at Home. If you have been a little stressed over the last couple of weeks, then you definitely need to tune in to today's show because I'll be speaking with life coach and mental health expert Mike Bayer. Before we get started, I want to remind you guys about the campaign No Kid Hungry. Because of school cancellations, 336 million school meals have been missed. Those communities are in need. And so if you want to donate, if you're looking for a way to help, visit nokidhungry.org for more information. Now I want to switch gears and welcome Mike to the screen. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Brittany.
First, I want to check in with you. Where are you and how are things?
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles, California, in West Hollywood. So probably similar to you in New York. It's everyone's in isolation and quarantine. I've owned a treatment center for the past 14 years that works with people just with mental health and anxiety or addiction and alcoholism, and we've gone completely online, which is a new paradigm in terms of response to what's going on in the mental health space with COVID-19.
Wow, I never
So,
really thought about that. So typically this is a place that people could come stay, but because of what we're going with, you have to treat people sort of over the internet.
yeah, so, as soon as we started having therapists get concerned and clients get concerned, we've had to adapt. The good news is insurance covers it.
Mm,
Major PPOs cover this in someone's state. So, um, a lot of people don't realize they can still get help even
mm.
without having to go to a facility. So, it's been a good resource, and it's also helped. There's new solutions that you can provide for people when you're talking to them in their home.
Mm-hmm.
You can get really creative with like exercises and that you just can't do in a group
Yeah.
setting at an office. So
Yeah. And we're going to dig into a little of that. But before I want to know, what are you doing yourself to sort of stay busy or to stay positive during this time?
well, for me, I always find that helping others is a way to
Mhm.
get out of the chaos in the head. So I started I go on Facebook Live a lot and I do coaching on Instagram, but I also like today at 5 p.m. Pacific time, I have a free group that's finding inspiration while in isolation. So I
Mm.
have Richie Jackson, Lady Gaga's choreographer, doing some exercises with the group, and then I bring in different like friends and guests to kind of. And it's over Zoom, so
Oh, cool.
people can sign up, and that's been a really good way for me to, when you help other people's lights turn on or offer support. Selfishly for myself, that even makes this a lot easier.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you mentioned the Facebook Live you've been doing.
Yeah.
Uh, I definitely popped into one of those.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that experience and what it's been like connecting to people through that resource.
Well, I think the main objective is so people don't feel alone, and there's a lot of people who are single or they're alone, and I think that's a different journey than someone who has a family in their home.
Mhm.
And I think being able to provide that connection, and also I try to do a good job of like seeing what they're right. When you watched, you probably saw, so people feel noticed and heard and
Mhm.
connected, and that just helps. I mean, there's a difference between social distancing and social connection. You can still
Mhm.
have those social connections. So that's kind of the goal of me doing those.
Yeah,
So,
it's interesting. I was telling you before this, I have been doing this solo, but I'm sort of okay with it. I'm somebody who can keep myself busy. What do you think is so hard for people about being alone?
I think the hard part for people being alone is the information that they take in and how they
Mm.
process it.
Mm.
So, I think a lot of people struggle with unknown or change or new structure. Somebody who's used to showing up at work from 8 to 5 every day and maybe having an activity and seeing their friends.
Mm.
There's not a connection. There's something about friendship and just catching up and hanging out. And with that going away, people have to double down in terms of creating that social connection. And
Mm.
I think it's I think, for me, I always try to provide only solutions in terms of what I do, because I
Mhm.
feel like the world has already so much noise around the problem and the struggle. And um, for a lot of people, that's all they're hearing. And if somebody has a little bit of depression, they can go into really dark depression. If someone
Mhm.
has a little bit of anxiousness, they get extremely anxious. And everyone's talking about COVID-19. Before that, it was about mental health.
Mhm.
Mental health didn't go away. Now it's blanket,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's people feel much more anxious and lonely than they did before.
So if somebody was already experiencing feelings of anxiety or depression, like you just mentioned, there are
Yeah.
women that maybe have an existing relationship with anxiety and depression. What are some things they can do to sort of stay as level as possible and not, like you said, go a little deeper or darker?
Yeah, I think one tip is create the new structure. Like back in the day, we had our calendars and we would write down everything going on. Now it's about like a well-being structure. So I want to get up by this time. Here's
Mhm.
what I'm going to do when I get up. For a lot of people, it's writing a gratitude list. It may
Mhm.
be meditating. It may be praying. And with everything going on, now's the time to really create that new structure of how we start the day, and then also reaching out to others.
Mm.
When we are suffering or struggling, we often don't realize that getting outside of ourselves and asking other people how they're doing shifts our mood.
Mm.
And also looking for support, asking for help and going. Part of this too is not adding fuel to the fire in terms of the like consumption of media is like consumption of food.
Yeah.
And if you eat too much cake, you eventually are going to feel the effects of eating too much cake.
Yeah.
And if you are watching media that fuels uh, how awful the state of affairs are in the world, you're going to start to experience what you're seeing, you
Yeah.
know?
I have noticed there is a very fine line between being informed and then getting hysterical during this time. And so for
What have
me,
you,
really, turning off the TV was the first thing I had to do. And then I just turn on Lester Holt every day, the nightly news. I get like 20 minutes, it's all together.
yeah.
That's how I stay informed, because if I were to watch it all day, I would start spiraling.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of people are because they're trying to stay safe,
Yeah.
But what have you noticed is the difference in terms of speaking to so many different people?
The difference in staying calm.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely have seen a lot of people doing the inner work. So meditation and yoga and journaling. The
Yeah.
more I talk to people, that seems to be the best way to sort of try to take control of all of this, is to sort of go inward and like do the self work, I guess. So a lot of
Yeah.
people have to have been doing that, for sure. What have you seen with the people you've been interacting with on social media?
I think support groups are amazing and they're free,
Mm.
and you have every type of support group under the sun now. Um, I've noticed that uh, I've noticed that by me behaving in a certain way shifts other people's behavior.
Mm.
And so I have a lot of people coming on, whether it be our support group. Like I spoke to a woman last night on Instagram, and I'll do spontaneous coaching, right? And I'll have the audience choose who I talk to. And I spoke to this woman, Amy Joe.
Okay.
She's in Detroit and she works at a fast food restaurant. And she's feeling really a lot of stress.
Mm.
And what we discovered was, she's just been glued to the news all day. And what she's going to do is bust out her sewing machine that she hasn't touched in 2 years. And she's going to either make some masks or
Hmm.
make some different things for her nieces and nephews and just get back into that creative spirit.
Yeah.
And just being, what I've noticed is people feel trapped instead of feeling like this is an opportunity to repivot in their lives.
Exactly. And that's what the conversations I'm having with a lot of people, that's sort of the silver lining a lot of people hope comes out of this, is that we come out on the other side being more empathetic and more in touch with ourselves and our creativity and all of these things.
Yeah, and life does not need to stop. Life is ready. I mean, we're abundant, we're infinite, we have so many talents and gifts, and I believe life wants us to win, and we just have to get into that spirit, um, to keep our momentum going, because now is an opportunity. If this goes on for another few months, after these next few months, you could be ahead of the game, or you could feel like you're playing catch up,
Yeah.
and it's a choice.
Yeah. What are some other things people can do to help manage their stress and anxiety? Working out, seeing a lot of that on Instagram. How impactful
Yeah.
is that to somebody's mental health during this time?
I think uh, accountability
Oh,
with fitness is fantastic. So I think if somebody uh, calls someone and says, "Hey, let's keep in touch, and we want to be able to do, you know, 50 push-ups a day, and we're going to do this together. Let's do it." I think there's part of it's just self-care, and the other is the spirit of connecting with other people.
mm,
And so, at all costs, if we can figure out with the different activities we do, to let other people know,
mm.
to post on social media, "Hey, I just did 50 push-ups, and I'm really proud of myself." All it does is inspire other people and makes you feel proud of yourself. And it's really about, um, I think it's extremely helpful to get as simple as a piece of paper with a pen out
Hmm.
and write down what you want to achieve day to day. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
And um, really it's about social connection while we're in social isolation that has a tremendous effect from the people I've seen.
Yeah. And, I think also having the awareness that if you are struggling, reaching out. So you mentioned that a lot of these mental health resources insurance is covering and people can.
Hmm.
So do you have any sort of like place we can direct people if they're looking for resources on how to find maybe a counselor or a social worker to speak with?
Yeah, so people can look online. Like, I run a place called Cast Centers. They can call our line, and we'll refer them to wherever they are and whatever state they're in, or provide resources. And we have a list of, like, if someone's looking for support for depression or alcoholism or addiction. So you can also Google it.
Yeah.
You can call your insurance provider. That's right now such a great opportunity for people to work through their depression while they're in the comfort of their own homes, because at the end of the day, they're not going to be in their therapist's office. They're going to be in their house. So
Hmm.
being able to provide that amazing support is actually makes for a magical experience in terms of getting well. So
Yeah.
I think it's really exciting for people who, as excited as one could get. I get excited about helping with depression and anxiety and stress, but because I feel like there's a moment where, like, this may really help people with even better results than
Yeah.
going into an office.
Yeah, no, I think so. And we have time, so there's no excuse not to sort of take an active role in getting healthy in whatever form that takes for you. Um,
Yeah,
you mentioned you're doing your Facebook Lives every day.
every day. Yeah, twice a day.
At what time?
Randomly, whenever I'm inspired, whenever I feel like I have something to say.
Okay.
But I do them in the I do them in the morning. I do them in the evening.
Okay.
So yeah, I do those. And then I launched. I have a podcast,
Mhm.
and so today's podcast, it's the Coach Mike podcast. Today's episode is actually our very first support group. So
Oh.
if someone wants to listen to what a support group is like, the topic was resilience.
Mm.
The second one I did was overcoming fear. The third was like global stories, and today's is from isolation into inspiration. And like, it's free.
Yeah.
So, you know, people that's why I'm saying whether they are inspired by me or another person, it's like hook
Yeah.
into someone, you
Yeah. That's
know?
why I'm asking for the details because I think people want to know where to go. So they can go to your Facebook Live, you got your
Yeah.
podcast, and then you mentioned on Instagram you're doing something as well.
Yeah, Instagram, I coach people every day.
Okay.
I just kind of pop up. And then if you go to coachmikebear.com and you click on the group, that's how you sign up. You'll get an email to every group we put on for free, and you can choose the topic. And I'm getting like different entertainers to pop up with me. So it's going to be like um, people that inspire me. So yeah, if people follow me. It's like and I'm always throwing out something new.
Yeah.
You
I
should
love
join me. You should join me on one of them, Brittany.
I will. Let me know when to be there. I have nothing but time. I will be there.
5 p.m. Be on 5 p.m. today,
Okay,
Pacific time, Los Angeles time. That's 8 p.m. your time.
got it.
And join and be on our group.
I'm looking forward to it because, like you said, I think this can be a time where we can really take care of ourselves, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And I like people having resources to do that work. So thank you, Coach Mike,
You
so much.
got it.
All the goodness you're putting out there, and I'll see you later, 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay.
You got it. I'm going to call on you.
All right, I'll be there.
All right, cool.
See you later.
Bye.